Good evening. Thank you for joining us today for this panel discussion around how to navigate your business during challenging times. We have with us our two panelists, Bhushan Gajaria sir and Samkit Shah sir. I'll just give a brief introduction. Bhushan sir is the founder of Beehive Capital Advisors. He's an angel investor. He comes with 15 plus years of industry experience and he has been mentoring startups for quite some years now. Then we have Samkit Shah sir. He's the founder of Align Pillars. He is also entrepreneur investor. He has closely worked with family businesses and he is business scale-up coach. Both Bhushan sir and Samkit sir are part of AIC RMP's mentor pool and they have been mentoring our startups. This panel discussion will be moderated by Uday Vankawala sir, who's the CEO of AIC RMP. He comes with 20 plus years of industry experience and he's working as a collaborator, facilitator and motivator in the startup ecosystem since 2010. So welcome everyone and over to you Uday sir.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. Really appreciate. So Pallavi is the incubation manager at AIC RMP, and she helps us with planning of incubation program activities around. Wonderful to have you, Bhushan ji and Samkit ji. Great to reconnect. It's difficult times, everyone. I know that, and it's a small forum that we have. So we'll try to make this very interactive in a way that surely this will go up live as well, not live, but on YouTube as well, the recorded version, so that more and more entrepreneurs, startups can benefit from our discussion. Because we have been talking about this, Bhushan ji, as you have been involved with us for close to 2 years now, and with Samkit ji as well, that we just started mentoring a couple of startups under your guidance. So we realized one thing, that these are difficult times. Everyone really understands this. But when it comes to business, I mean, irrespective of the times, yeah, the show must go on, right? I mean, that's what everyone says. And in the business, that's the most important part. Because it's not just your business model, it's a lot of family, your aspirations, your plans are dependent, and I've seen a lot of small businesses really affected, getting really affected. And I'm not going to talk about sectors here because everyone knows that there are certain sectors that have been hit really hard. So we won't have sector specific discussions. We'll just leave it around more on the sustainability of the business and how we can maneuver around smartly in our businesses. So that's where we said that let's have a very interesting focus discussion with group of our participants, and then surely we would love to have inquiries or queries later on as well from others as well. But we are going to address three specific elements out here. When we say business, I think the core element of any business is the business model part. The second part is every time we say that let's just kind of refine your business model or do some structural changes. So what are those structural changes? That's important for everyone to know. And the third part is as an incubator and accelerator as well. I mean, there have been challenges around for a lot of incubators or co-working spaces. So we'll just briefly touch upon those particular areas as well. But let me first start the discussion mainly on the topic that the pandemic has affected businesses all around the globe, and especially small and emerging businesses and startups in particular. And we know that there have been a lot of initiatives by Government of India. There is Startup India portal. There are a lot of mentors around. But my question to Bhushan ji first is that in such times, what are the three key areas that any businesses or startups should really look at in a way that there is a lot of time, and also in a way that there is a lot of challenges in a way that you have to pay salaries of your employees. There are certain businesses or deals that might be there in the pipeline, but might have got delayed. So maybe to start off with, I think to set the context, what are the three key areas that a business or startup should really look at in such times? Bhushan ji.
Okay. Thank you, Deji, and hi everyone. Yeah, clearly, these times, and all of us would have gone through some or the other pain in business and personal life during these days. As a startup, okay, and are working with a lot of startups and everything, I can tell you three key areas where they need to focus on. Probably they realize one part is the on the
बब्बू वो पास कर देना देखना ये फैमिली
sorry. Yeah. So the first part is the cost structure wise. A lot of startups are realizing that how you need to get self sustainable gradually in your business, and how you are placed in terms of your fixed cost structure and the variable cost structure. So that is one part of the cost structure which a lot of the startups have started focusing on, and that's something which is very very critical. So just giving example, one of our investments, clearly when we were looking at expanding into multiple cities, we had to relook at our plan, because then we said that if there is a event of a third wave, likelihood of a third wave in next couple of months, do we need to add on to the cost structures of the new market, or right now go slow and focus on creating the profitability of the existing market? So that's where you need to start looking at the cost structures, fixed and the variable, and look at your own plans. That is one part. Second is the structural aspects of the business. See, a lot of businesses have gone through a structural change. Okay, the way you are delivering the business, or way you are looking at your own revenue model. So there is a lot of pivoting which is required. I know a couple of companies which were more heavy on a sales and a transaction based model, have pivoted more in terms of the a product, a SaaS kind of a model and everything, and realize that they are better off being a software business rather than being an end product business, which is where there is a lot of volatility which is coming. So there is some change which is required, pivoting which is required on that side. So a lot of businesses have gone through that structural change. Third, very important thing that not many would have realized this, is on your resource plan and the business continuity aspect. While we have heard a lot of stories of some senior people, uh, uh, getting impacted badly because of the COVID, on the health issues, uh, or there are aspects when people have lost, very very senior guys in their business, okay, companies and everything. Here I think so, startup, or whether it's a mid-sized companies or large scale companies, I think so the entire business continuity plan becomes very very critical. How dependent you are on your key resources. And also I can tell you, resource planning, where you need to build your buffer or not. So my, again, coming to my personal experience, is one of the IT companies doing extremely well on the business front, getting a lot more business. However, during this pandemic, while the business flow is there, the delivery became an issue. Why? Because a lot of the team members went through this pain at the same time. Now, that is the time the company realized that where they need to have buffer resources, what are the critical component of their development part, where they need to have buffer resources or not. So I think so the resource planning and the business continuity will become critical now.
Very interesting, very interesting. So what I really understand is, one is the cost element. I mean, that's an ongoing sort of a thing, which you really need to. I mean, whether that's pandemic or no pandemic, I believe that even the funded startups will have to really look at that particular aspect regularly. The resources, I think, yeah. I mean, that's where we always say that for any startup, it's a team, and the key resources, they play very crucial role. So that the startup can move to the next level. Samkitji, anything from your side? I mean, any
So,
further inputs?
I think what Bhushan said, I would just like to add, two small examples. One of the clients, where, they have a very small team. They've been there about a good 10, 12 years into the business. But however, the entire focus was on only few employees. And, the point which Bhushan mentioned about resource planning, the entrepreneur had this one female manager who was completely dependent on him, right? So anything on the export documentation or any aspect of the business was dependent on her. Unfortunately, in the COVID, she passed away, and suddenly, what happened is that this business was completely stalled because nobody else knew how the export documentation, how the entire process would plan out. So much so that the entrepreneur himself had to sit down and ensure all the invoices and the export documentation is taken care of, while the new process in the system is being set. So this resource planning, we usually do not give importance. We think everything is there for perpetuity, but we really need to look at that aspect. And the second aspect I want to highlight is there are a lot of businesses which are very dependent on funding very, very often. And that's where Bhushan's first point comes on self-sustaining. That if our business model is such that every few months, only if we are able to raise funds, will we be able to be existing and surviving, then we really seriously need to look at the model very, very seriously. Because if the business is not generating enough cash flow for it to stay afloat and heavy dependent on new funds being raised, then the business is always going to be, paving a very, very thin line. And what happens when you are paving a very thin line is that every decision now becomes very, very focused on whether we should do it or not do it. And the confidence get hampered big time. So both self-sustaining and resource planning are very critical that every businesses need to look into.
No, that's really interesting. But my point is always like when you say startup, it starts off with maybe a single founder, and then you would have 2 or 3 team members, and then again, I mean, you are juggling with too many things, getting right people, building a team. I believe that's where that has to be ramped up, or that has to be really taken up as a priority, which I believe that earlier startups never thought about it, or rather said that let's just build a solution and then we can figure it out on the continuity part of it. I think business continuity, I believe that's the key word out here, that you really need to, startup has to really think about business continuity, which wasn't the case earlier. I think pandemic has taught everyone, right in our family as well, that it's very important, if at all, I mean, because anywhere you go in the family as well, there are key members, there are certain members, but everyone has to really share the responsibility and know everything, because these are difficult times. So with regards to that, Bhushanji spoke about structural changes, and we would love to know more about when we say structural changes, how do you define, Bhushanji, structural changes, or how do you really start the process of making those structural changes? If you can just elaborate a bit on that.
So when I say structural changes, there are 2 aspects to it. So one is how am I delivering my own core product, okay, to my consumer, okay? That is one part. So we have already seen in the education sector today that the entire delivery mechanism has gone online to an extent that even I know that my daughter's gymnastic professor has started teaching online. So that's a nimble footed, and that's how you pivot yourself. No one would have thought that a gymnastic would be taught on an online course. Okay, so clearly that is a kind of a structural change. And when I say structural change, it is not just from the supplier point of view. It is even consumers' mindset of accepting it. Okay, of that delivery mechanism. So that is what I say structural change. So one is the delivery part. The second structural change I say is the way you actually build your revenue model. Okay, so normally you have a transaction based model, a subscription based model, or those kind of models which are there. Now that's where there are changes which will happen in this scenario. Okay, because what will happen all of a sudden, so I very interesting, I met someone recently in the logistics sector. Okay, and then he said that in this period, rather than taking business, last mile delivery business on a transaction based model, I have taken as a monthly subscription based model. I have assumed what is the normal इनका delivery कितना होता है corporate का, and I am saying I will take a monthly fixed fee rather than number of transactions. So what he is trying to do is that while today the corporate is feeling that ठीक है, I am paying a fixed fee so that tomorrow if my volume goes up, still my cost doesn't go up, my cost goes, cost per unit goes down, whereas the promoter is thinking that this is at least giving me a base level of earning. Okay, that's how the pivoting they have done in terms of their revenue model. Now that is very interesting. So that's what I say, the structural change in how you deliver your product and how you how you bill your consumer. These are 2 aspects.
So again, I mean, when we say startups, these are all kind of people doing experimentation, doing hands-on sort of a thing every time, and it's a small team as well. So my question to Samkitji, because he's in the space of consulting family managed businesses as well, wherein you have one or two sort of key people. How do you really bring about the mindset sort of a change? Because when you say structural, at times, I mean, it's like a eureka moment, right? I mean, that you have worked on it and then you feel that, hey, this may work. And this is, again, let me tell you, it's not a foolproof sort of, when you say structural changes, again, it takes time to get the results. And then you really need a sounding board or someone who could help you out in making those structural changes. So how would a small startup or a single founder should really look at such sort of things? Any tips for startups?
So yes, Adajji, I think you've been spot on. The difference is going to be between two keywords. Do you want to grow or do you want to scale up? So growth, every company would have, so you pick up any company and if you see their history, the entrepreneurs would have grown very well in the initial years because of a very narrow focus on, few customers, few markets, few geographies, few people to manage. But while they're growing very well, if they have not put the right structures, then the scale up becomes quite difficult. And the difference is that now every growth they want to have, they will have to spend equal amount of money. If I spend 100, I grow 100. If I spend 150, I grow 150. If that kind of a ratio is there, then ultimately it's just growing. That's not in true sense scaling up. So the difference is what kind of structure are you putting in so that you have to just input 30 and you get a scaling of 100. And right from your resource, your strategy, your even people structure, your decentralization, even of the entire leadership team. And this is the problem which a lot of entrepreneurs starting early startups, when they get into a mature phase, they are not able to make the change and really get into the mode of delegation. They still think that what got them from 0 to say 10 would get them from 10 to 30 or 30 to 100. And this mindset change is very, very important. And that's where someone perspective, like a business coach, would really show them a mirror that, while you've been doing so well in the initial years, but what requires for your company to grow 3x or 5x requires a very different set of leadership. And this is again talking of a structural change, because the structural change starts with the mind of the entrepreneur who's leading the company.
That's an interesting perspective, because again, I mean, at times, I believe this is more about even your leadership capability or ability to really see the space and then develop yourself as a true leader. Yes. And then taking certain decisions which are important for not just you, but for your startup, to ensure that first it sustains and then moves into the growth phase. I believe that's what it's really important for everyone to understand. But I would love to understand. I think we have participants that are like few from the academia and few from incubators, as well as a couple of startups over here having working on their ideas. My next question is more around resources. So when we say resources, I think it's very difficult at this particular moment with the virtual online world. Previously, you can always easily reach out to people, you can meet and then get to know your real well-wishers as well. Now it's all about kind of meeting unknown guys online as well, and then how do you really kind of ensure that they are the right sort of people to help you out in your journey. And that's where my question is more around your business model as well, because certain business models are kind of very much within the framework, if you would see, requires human interventions or human touch sort of thing. So any specific tips on the business model, or how would you really go back to your drawing board and then see that what all changes that you really need to make in your business model? Because I believe we have a couple of our startups as well out here that are working on field. And then, I mean, because one of the components, if you really ask them, then they'll always say that unless I meet that person, that order is not going to come. Which I always say that the revenue component of it, all business model part of it, caters to that segment sort of a thing. How do you really work on those aspects and ensure that at least you set your priorities right? So maybe Samkitji, you could really start off with that.
Yeah, I'll let Bhushan take this.
Okay.
Interesting. See, when we say going back to the boardroom, I'll come to very interesting. What we spoke about is the challenges that have come in because of these times. Okay. I would say now look at the other way around, the opportunities that have come in because of this scenario. Okay. And that's the reason where you are seeing a lot of companies who are startups who have done extremely well in the last 1.5 years. They have turned the table in terms of what they are doing or what they are delivering. Okay. And they saw so all of a sudden edtech has become a flavor of the day. Okay. Because they saw the opportunity. Okay. There are a couple of companies in the health tech space which most of us would have written them off some time back. Okay. Are very aggressive today in terms of their marketing, because all of a sudden teleconsulting is back in flavor. The model which a lot of people were looking at few years back but were not able to scale up, all of a sudden that has now become an opportunity. Okay. So I say structural changes now, that is, but how good you are depends on whether you are able to take that opportunity or okay. Whether you have been able to understand this particular challenge and convert this into an opportunity. Now that's when you go back to your boardroom and you define yourself. So when we say business model, so we say there are 4 aspects to your business model. One is you need to revisit your idea. Okay. So idea has to be something where you are saying my core value proposition, whether I'm delivering that proposition or not, what methodology of delivering that proposition can change with the time. Okay. But whether I am still delivering that core proposition or whether that core proposition is relevant today or not. Okay. Now that is very important. Whether, so for example, uh, uh, I come back to the gymnastics, same example, I come to the gymming thing. Okay. CureFit grew disproportionately in last 1.5 years. Okay. Now that is where your core proposition at some point of time was about delivering a content, a fitness content, or looking after the fitness of a person without actually having a physical infrastructure. Okay. So all those people who are thinking physical infrastructure is important for delivery need to go back to their drawing board and say whether you can deliver your core value proposition without actually with changing your delivery mechanism or with that. So that's an idea part. Second comes again the focus, which I said that focus piece, which you need to go back to your boardroom and say that what do you want to now look at right now? Have you gone through a change where probably more than a growth, profitability becomes critical? Okay, then you need to change your priorities according to. So you change your focus and you say, now I want to prioritize and I want to focus on profitability for a while. I need to build certain cash flow so that I can, be better off in case of other uncertainty or better off in terms of the next round of funding. Okay. For example, I'll give you a very classic example of a business like a corporate crash. Okay. One client of our in corporate crash business, uh, he did one very interesting thing, is that he said that okay, I am into a corporate crash which cannot be delivered online. It is not something that I can give a daycare facility this thing. So he looked at and learned from a facility management business, and he said that if you need, because there are people who are working from home, okay, and they need a helper to take care of their kids at home, okay, and these are trained people. So then he said that daycare at home concept. Okay, so that's where he went to his drawing board and say, let me change into an opportunity and let me see that whether this can be done or not. So he created, now this revenue stream has become a all-time permanent revenue stream for him. Second, he starts looking at that content delivery. Now, can I do that content delivery? Because now there is an acceptance of a mobile-based delivery mechanism. People are less, today people are more open to give their mobile phone to their kids, which they were not probably 1.5 years back. Okay. So if that is there, can I now start delivering my content through that? Okay. So all of a sudden, so he went to his drawing board and said that these are the changes I can make to my business model. So my core remains same. My core value proposition remains same, but now I have added 2 new revenue streams to my own business. Okay. That's when you start going back to your business model. Okay. So you say, what is your idea, your core proposition, whether you are delivering still that, what is the focus now, okay, which you need to look at, and now change your priorities according to this. Okay. So that's what we say, that go back to your business.
I think this is what, let's not spill the beans, because we have the on track program happening from 11th to 13th this particular Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 hours. So I'm sure, that's where we'll get to know more about the idea, focus, and priorities around resources as well. I believe that that's the model that we always say that in a business model, there are 4 key elements to it. And we have seen that working perfectly well when we have applied it to our startups as well. And the startups that you are mentoring and consulting, I believe that that's the model that everyone should really look at. But I believe the key word out here is adaptability. I think the flexibility with which they can really work upon. And I very well remember one of my mentors told me that when you say that entrepreneurship is all about not looking at the closed door, it's more about like how many doors are open, or else what's the alternative sort of a thing. If you keep on looking at the closed door, then you won't really find exactly the other options that are there for you. And I think that's what everyone has to be in this challenging times. Really see exactly what all other opportunities are there and what all other sort of elements in the business model that you can work upon. And I think this is the right time for everyone to really refine or revisit their business model as well, because 3 years or 5 years down the line in your business, the entire scenario, the landscape's going to change, including the behavioral change as well as your markets. What we thought earlier was a very limited opportunity for education. Now it's a global market, right? I mean, if you have developed a product, you can really reach out to global set of customers as well. And then even your students could be from anywhere, not just in your particular area. But in fact, I mean, that's where I believe that infrastructure, certain social distancing, I mean, certain norms that is going to be prevalent for next couple of months and years. I believe that is looking at those specific limitations. You'll have to look at your business model and work on those specific things as well. Samkit ji, any interesting case or any particular startup or business you would like to talk about that?
I just want to expand a little bit on what Bhushan mentioned on the resource part. I think a critical decision which every business needs to take is how do we optimize our decisions? What do I mean by that? We have a resource and we have an opportunity. Now, for a lot of companies, they will say that what is our inherent strength on the resource front? We first take that as the base and then we seek an opportunity according to that. Whereas some companies would say, what are the opportunities? And we will deploy resource according to that. So one would start inside out and the other would start outside in. And this is a very, very mindful exercise which every company needs to see when it comes to a resource part. And most importantly, you mentioned about a case study. We usually now forget about one very important resource. We always spoken of people, we always spoken of finance, but information has become probably the number 1 or number 2 in terms of its importance. A lot of businesses, but not every business is on digital front. So they would not be able to imbibe technology, the way we would see it, or like the Byju's and the Zohos. But how the technology and how the information which the entire business throws upon in terms of its progress becomes very important. And I'll give you an example. I've been working with almost a 55 crore company doing fantastically well. They've grown from 2 crore a month to 7 crores a month over the last 8 months, right bang up in the middle of the COVID period. But they were absolutely clueless on how are they progressing, because kaam itna tha, day in, day out, just execute order. And when we started working and when we actually got the entire systems in place, the structures in place, they realized that probably some growth is happening, for the good of the company, but some growth is not the way it should have happened. And they had to do the course correction, which means we had to revisit certain aspect of the business model if we had to really sustain this momentum, even post-COVID and even probably 10 years down the line. So it comes back to what is the visibility the entrepreneur or the leadership team is having of its progress of the business.
No, very, very interesting, because we always say that for startups is all execution, right? I mean, it's not about
So I think we've.
I think there's a network issue to this.
Yeah. Yes, Udayji. Sorry,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
lost
extremely
you.
sorry. Yeah, got some network issues. So what I was saying that it's very important that as a business, there is always an execution. I mean, as startup, you always look at the execution, but at least the pandemic has given a lot of time to the founders that that they can really go back, and then it's not just routine or execution. There is enough time with them as well to
Yeah.
really look at this, revisit their models. And then again, I mean, at times it's also very important that they would realize that beyond execution, what really works is the long-term planning. I think that's what it's been missed out earlier. So at least let's see the positive side of the pandemic, that people have got chance to really look at their own way of working and the execution style, methodology as well. Leading to that, I think we had a question, and we had asked this specifically to everyone, that if they have any specific questions. And there was an interesting question: how do you really kind of balance out revenues and expenses for a startup? It's just a tricky question. Maybe either of you, I mean, if you want to really take it up.
Yeah.
And I really found it very interesting, because that's where the real beauty of startup lies in, right? For survival, and how do you really balance out the revenues and the expenses? So maybe.
Great. So yeah, obviously it's the most difficult thing, and current scenario, forget the current scenario, but the overall the new breed of startups that we see, then normally there is no correlation between revenue and expenses. So it's an interesting question that has come from someone. It clearly shows that the person is thinking a lot more about sustainable business model rather than the burn business model. Okay. So it's a very good thing. See, expense. So I normally say that there is no relationship. So there are two ways to look at it. There are a lot of people I have seen who say that this is my expense which is there. Okay, come what may. This is the business. Itna minimum expense to lagne wala hai. Okay? And then based on that they go out and start to hunt for new business, so that they are able to balance their revenue in line with their expenses. Okay, because there are a lot of such business. For example, I'll tell you, even traditional businesses, when you look at a warehousing business. Okay, now warehousing business, your expense will come first and the revenue will come later. Okay, so you have set up your investment, you have put your certain fixed cost, everything you have put. Okay, and now you are going out and looking out for business. It is not something where a modular one, that every time you get business and then you keep increasing your expenses. That's not a kind of business that. Okay, and then there are certain businesses where you say that I will first look at the revenue stream, and based on that I will increase my team. Okay, so for that matter, IT business is there, or for CFO services kind of business, wherever it's a human, where human team, human capital, you can always grow modular, in a modular way. Infrastructure capital, you can't grow in a, it is always in a phased manner, which you grow. And in infrastructure spend, always the expense come first and then the income comes. Okay, so that is, so you need to decide what kind of business you are in. That's one part. Second thing is that it's not about balancing between revenue and expenses. It's more to understand what your expenses and what the purpose of that expenses. Okay. Uh, so for example, there is an expense for acquiring business. Okay, or acquiring customer. Now, obviously, you will have to do it beforehand before you get the customer. Okay, but while looking at that expense, you need to be very clear whether you are acquiring a sticky business, a sticky customer, or you are acquiring a transaction. Okay, so you need to divide between that in terms of acquisition of that. Second is your infrastructure spend, which I give you example of a warehouse. Okay, now obviously you will have to do it beforehand. Okay, then you need to look at each and every expenses in terms of what is, whether it is a must have expense, okay, or it is good to have expense. Okay, so there are certain expenses you will do which is good to have, which will improve your brand image, or which will improve your, which will give you certain buffer, which will help you grow your business, certain aspect there. And then there are certain expenses which are your must have. Okay, क्योंकि उसके बिना धंधा नहीं चलता है. And at any point of time your revenue cannot be lesser than your must have expenses. Okay, so what happens is that in any uncertainty, you know that this is, ये तो आप इतना ब्रीच नहीं करोगे, आपका ये रेवेन्यू तो है, इतना तो आपको मिल ही रहा है. So there are certain expenses which are in your control, which you will be able to control. So the impact you will have in tough times will not be as bad. Okay. So I think that is how you need to look at you segregate your revenue, your expenses mainly in terms of must have and good to have.
What I really clearly gathered, Bhushanji, I think these are all templates or frameworks, something that really has to work kind of at the time of taking decisions. I think that's what we always talk about, which I believe that as an entrepreneur, you'll have to have that smart, particular set of sensible, smart, intelligent sort of a quotient somewhere out at the back of your mind, doing those calculations all the time, rather than getting into the emotional part of doing a business. I believe that that's where I think certain innovators and problem solvers, they miss out on that part because they are so glued to the problem solving part of it, that there is more expenditure attached to their ideas than the revenue lines. I think that's a great tip that you have given. I believe that and out here in particular communities, we say, right, Gujaratis, Marwadis, Sindhis are really good at looking at businesses, and I think it's all about the framework and the tools that they work upon, and it's more sort of looking at the kind of making those decisions at the right time. I think that happens through either frameworks or that happens through your certain particular smart decisions. So before we move on to the kind of participants, I think we'll definitely give the opportunity to the participants out here as well if they have any questions. But looking at the overall sentiments around businesses and small businesses, Samkit ji, would love to know your thoughts. What do you feel? I mean, what are the quick tips that you can give to the startups? I think we have spoken enough about the framework, the business model, the structuring part of it. But maybe overall, if at all, in these tough times, while working from home or not still 100% sort of in terms of opening up of businesses, what are your thoughts? What should a startup founder do at this particular moment?
So, Udaji, be it a startup or be it a startup affected by pandemic, one thing comes out very clearly, which every startup needs to do, is to find the right fit, basically the problem solution fit. You may have a great product designed. You may be a PhD or you may be a medical professional, you may be a scientist, and you've made a beautiful product in your laboratory. That's the solution part. But first and foremost is you need to understand the problem out in the market. And if there is no problem solution fit, it will just be like you are doing the entire business for your own fantasy. And a lot of startups make this mistake, and that's why they are not able to scale up, because they have not identified this fit. And after the first round of their friends and family, nobody else buys a product because they have not identified if the problem is existing out there and if that problem is big enough to be converted into a big business. And second is a product market fit, which means what is the market you are trying to cater. And in the current pandemics, your market would have changed probably 360 degrees, which means you need to go back to your board and see where do we stand in terms of our problem solution fit and product market fit. Or do we need to pivot some things based on the changes in the market, changes in the consumer behavior, changes in the way it is being delivered. So that would be my first point when I go and revisit the board, the whiteboard.
Interesting. Anything specific in terms of, looking at the opportunities or maybe what you might have thought that this particular solution would work, but because of the pandemic and the current situation, how would, because we have seen a lot of products or certain sectors getting hit really badly, right? There was a ready-made solution, and then again, let's say entertainment, let's say schools, education. It has really changed the entire sort of as you rightly said, 360 degrees, right? So anything specific that you feel that how would
we would go back to what Bhushan reiterated, that you start with where the strength lies. Is your strength in your inherent resource? Then you maneuver the whole business according to that. Or is your strength the adaptability? Then you move around the opportunity which has been created even out of this pandemic. So that mindfulness is very important to understand where should we take the business, and we cannot stick to the same thing we started off probably a year and a half back, because in last year and a half back the whole world has changed.
True.
So that
No,
needs to be incorporated. into
that's
that.
really interesting. I believe that this is what everyone needs to really look at. Bhushanji, anything from your end? Any particular tips, sentiments? What do you see
No, so
when you meet entrepreneurs and a lot of incubators as well, right?
so I always say, no, you need to be very nimble footed, okay, in terms of spotting opportunity. At the same time, and that nimble, and how nimble you are also depends how good you are in terms of understanding the changes in the market. At the same time, are you carrying an elephant with you in terms of the cost structure? Sorry, are you carrying an elephant with you in terms of a cost structure, or are you nimble footed in your cost structure side so that you can pivot very quickly? So those are important things, but you have to be nimble footed, and I can tell you so many businesses have done that in a very, very nice way in the last 1.5 2 years, okay. And while we are talking about startups and everything, uh, let's look at even an established business like Dabur, okay. Dabur all of a sudden realized this opportunity, and last year they spent heavily on the marketing of Chyawanprash. So they increased the marketing spend of that particular single product, realizing that immunity is the one very big selling point for the year. So if a company like Dabur, that scale, if they can be nimble footed, startups have to be a lot more nimble footed. There's one of the companies that Samkit and I are working with, uh, into automotive services business. They realized that when the lockdown was opening up, okay, sanitization of cars would be a very big business, okay. So they started that as well. So that's how you spot opportunity, and whether it's for survival or whether it's for the change in your entire business model, but you have to be nimble.
No, I think that's the key word. I think everyone really has to understand and then ensure that they smartly adapt to those strategies and then work on those things. We have time for a couple of questions. Maybe I can see Tarangji, I can see a couple of our incubatees, as well as I believe there is Dr. Ramalinga. Please unmute yourself if you have any specific questions. Would love to have questions from the participants, if at all. Anyone, feel free. Can quickly take up questions from one or two participants if that's. Tarangji, anything from your end? Or I can see Pradeep ji. Yeah, Pradeep ji.
Yes, sir. I'm Pradeep Pandey, sir, from Indore.
Yeah.
So basically, we are doing a mushroom business. We have a small manufacturing lab. We have make some product, and we are also doing training and consultancy. We have just started our startup last 2 to 3 years, but last 1.5 year, we want pick up our new growth because we have enough mature. My age is approx 38. My wife is also 36. We both left our job and we started new venture. But after COVID, how we can start our startup, because 1.5 year we are मतलब हम लोगों ने बहुत अच्छा किया हमारे स्टार्टअप के हिसाब से कि चलो स्टार्टअप है, अभी स्टार्ट करना चाहिए और ये सब चैलेंजेस आते हैं। जब हमें ग्रो करना था, हमारा पूरा प्लान था कि चलो अब पैसे लगाते हैं और इसको नेक्स्ट लेवल पे लेके जाएंगे। उसके बाद से ही काफी हम अच्छी चीजें भी हमारे साथ में हुई, जैसे हमको सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का प्रोजेक्ट मिला, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का भी प्रोजेक्ट मिला, फंड भी मिले, बहुत सारे आइडियाज हमारे पिक हुए, खूब सोशल मीडिया में हमारे कैंपेन चले, न्यूज काफी न्यूज आई। लेकिन लास्ट जब से कोविड आया है तब से ऐसा हुआ है कि सब कुछ सोशल मीडिया में तो चल रहा है, हमको लग रहा है कि हम कहाँ पे हैं और सोशली तो हम लोग बहुत आगे हो गए हैं। तो उसका जो प्रेशर है ना वो बहुत ज्यादा है हमारे ऊपर। हम लोग काम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। हम लोग इंदौर में हैं, इंदौर में आपने देखा होगा कि काफी स्टार्टिंग से ही काफी इफेक्टेड है कोविड से। तो मैं आपसे ये क्वेश्चन करना चाह रहा था कि हम लोग को लग रहा है, जो हम फील कर रहे हैं कि अभी हम लोग को राइट टाइम क्या है, इसको फर्दर मूवमेंट आगे करना चाहिए इन्वेस्टमेंट के पार्ट पे, या फिर और थोड़ा और रुक जाना चाहिए? क्योंकि मशरूम है, आपको भी पता है कि मशरूम इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा पॉपुलर नहीं है अभी, है ना, और टाइम लगेगा। लेकिन साथ में एक अपॉर्चुनिटी भी है कि अभी ड्यूरिंग कोविड इम्यूनिटी बूस्टिंग के तौर पे हम लोग काफी प्रमोट कर रहे हैं उसको। लेकिन वो जस्ट एक सोशल मीडिया पे है, उसका इम्पैक्ट आएगा क्या आएगा वो हम नहीं बोल सकते। तो मैं आपसे एक सजेशन ही लेना चाह रहा था कि क्या ये सही टाइम है हमको फर्दर इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए, या थोड़ा और वेट करना चाहिए?
तो टाइमिंग कोई गलत नहीं होता है, ठीक है। अगर आपको अभी लग रहा है, अगर आप कन्विंस्ड हो आपके बिजनेस मॉडल पे, ठीक है, और आपको लग रहा है कि नहीं ये टेम्पररी फेज है और आपको यहाँ पे, देन जस्ट फोकस ऑन दैट। आपको जैसे आपने बोला कि इम्यूनिटी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अगर आप देख रहे हैं मशरूम, देन आप वो सब देखिए कहाँ कहाँ पे आप यूज केस दिखा सकते हैं मशरूम। दिस थिंग ऐसा नहीं है मशरूम कंजम्पशन पूरा डाउन हो गया है, एंड कंजम्पशन इज ग्रोइंग ओनली, ये कंजम्पशन ग्रो हो रहा है। तो अगर जिस थीसिस से आपने ये धंधा चालू किया था, आई कैन टेल यू वो थीसिस चेंज नहीं हुई है। ऐसा नहीं है पेंडेमिक की वजह से उसमें कोई चेंज हो गया है। जैसे मैं बोल रहा हूँ काफी धंधों में जैसे स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस आए, वैसे आपके बिजनेस में नहीं आया, ठीक है। तो आपके लिए ये जो भी इम्पैक्ट है वो टेम्पररी है, और टेम्पररी इम्पैक्ट की वजह से कभी भी बिजनेस मॉडल चेंज मत करिएगा। तो अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आज की तारीख में ये, देन प्रोबेबली आपको तो अगर ऐसा टाइम है विच इज टेम्पररी बट स्ट्रक्चरली यू आर स्टिल पॉजिटिव ये बिजनेस मॉडल पे, तो दिस इज द बेस्ट टाइम टू इन्वेस्ट, बिकॉज आपको टाइम मिल रहा है टू क्रिएट योर प्रोडक्ट वाइल सेल्स नहीं हो रहा है। तो मैं ऐसे बोल रहा हूँ कि नॉर्मली आपको पता है कि आपकी कंपटीशन की भी गाड़ी रुकी है, आपकी भी गाड़ी रुकी है, ठीक है। और ऐसे टाइम पे नॉर्मली ये नहीं होता है, कंपटीशन तो आगे बढ़ते रहता है, बट ये गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि कंपटीशन भी कुछ ग्रो नहीं कर पा रहा है। So then you have a good catch up that you can do right now. Then you might as well invest more right now in this and create that business model.
ओके, थैंक यू सर। बस उसमें मुझे प्रॉब्लम कब आती है सर, जो अभी क्या है, ड्यूरिंग कोविड काफी सारे प्रोग्राम अटेंड कर रहे हैं, तो जैसे कि अभी आपने भी कई बार एक वर्ड यूज किया, हम बड़ा हाथी तो नहीं पाल रहे हैं। तो
Correct?
हमारे साथ भी ये लगता है जैसे कि हमारा एक बिजनेस मॉडल रन हो रहा था, उससे सेटअप एक इनकम आ रही थी। अगर मान लीजिए मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट करता हूँ, तो अभी मान लीजिए कि आने वाले टाइम में जैसे 2-3 महीने फिर ऐसे लॉकडाउन हो जाए, और मेरा उसका एक्सपेंडिचर ही कम से कम नहीं तो मतलब 3-4 लाख रुपए तो हमारी सैलरी और ये सब में निकल जाएगा। तो वही जो बड़ा हाथी पालना है कि नहीं पालना है, उसके बारे में डिसीजन मतलब किस हिसाब से
तो,
ले हम?
तो मैंने जो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो उदय जी ने पूछा था उसमें बोला था, ये आपको यहाँ समझना है कि कौन सा कॉस्ट आपका फिक्स्ड है और कौन सा वेरिएबल है, ठीक है।
यस।
जब मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट बोल रहा हूँ तो जरूरी नहीं है आप फिक्स कॉस्ट पाल के बैठेंगे, एलिफेंट पालना नहीं है फॉर श्योर, ठीक है। लेकिन जब मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट बोल रहा हूं तो आर यू गोइंग एटलीस्ट मेकिंग, आपके प्लान्स है, ओके, आपके प्लान्स है, आपका जो भी इनिशियल वेरिएबल कॉस्ट जो हो सकता है, कुछ कुछ ऐसे एक्सपेंस हो सकते हैं, वो पकड़ के एटलीस्ट आर यू आर मूविंग इन द डायरेक्शन और नॉट। सी ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है आप बोलो कि बॉस मैं कंप्लीटली हॉल्ट हो गया हूँ, उस चीज में मैं जरा भी मूव नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं 6 महीने के बाद वापस देखूंगा इसको, क्योंकि 6 महीने के बाद ऑलरेडी द मार्केट इज मूविंग एट अ नॉर्मल स्पीड, और फिर आपको तभी कैचअप करना थोड़ा और डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा,
यस।
ठीक है।
प्रदीप जी, मैं सजेस्ट करना चाहूँगा, इफ यू हैव टाइम एज पर द स्केड्यूल, वी हैव दिस प्रोग्राम 11 to 13 ऑन ट्रैक। आपको सोशल मीडिया पे जानकारी मिल जाएगी, AICRMP।
यस सर,
हाँ जी, तो मे बी इफ यू कैन
ऑलरेडी
रजिस्टर।
रजिस्टर्ड सर,
वंडरफुल,
ऑलरेडी।
वंडरफुल, सो दैट विल रियली हेल्प यू। और मुझे लग रहा है कि आई थिंक एट दिस पर्टिकुलर मोमेंट इट्स आल्सो अबाउट, बिकॉज it might be a family business, or it might be very specific people involved at this moment in your business. I think you really need to think beyond that and then see exactly how you can collaborate and then save certain cost as well. I think that those are important elements. We'll definitely take that up. Samkit ji, there is one more question which is about the future of B2B businesses in India and exports. Future also in B2B and B2C, maybe because you might be working closely with export companies, so maybe
I think we all agree, and we have been repeatedly saying in the last, I think probably 2 to 3 years, that it is a golden period for India. And B2B business or B2C business, I think every business has a great opportunity. But the most important factor is, do you have the clarity of what business and how do you want to grow that? So a lot of entrepreneurs have a fantastic idea, so when it comes to spotting an opportunity, spotting an idea, spotting a problem, they are fantastic. But the problem with India is that they are not able to execute well and to scaling it up. So very, very often we see that a business starts very well because they've identified वो एक Indian entrepreneur की एक strength होती है, जुगाड़ू strength होती है. But वो जुगाड़ू strength एक level तक चलती है. And same thing applies for even B2B businesses. Today, Udayji, I'm working with a lot of B2B businesses who've grown well, 50, 60, 70 crores, but now they're coming to me saying something for last 5 years. We have not moved even 2 crores this side or 2 crores this side, which means they're stuck, which means that the business has not enhanced their capability to move to the next level of scaling up. And which means the first and the foremost is the entrepreneur himself. And in every work I do with all my clients, my first focus is how capable and how what kind of transition the entrepreneur is making. That will define how the company is going to make that transition.
Completely. I think it's the entrepreneur's grit, it's the entrepreneur's mindset, and it's mainly the leadership ability of that particular person that's going to define the business. Most important thing. We have a question from Ramalinga Swami, Bhushanji, and I believe you can really address this, because it's about funding, about seed fund investors. So there is a startup at an idea stage or a validation stage in this pandemic times. How can they reach out to seed fund investors? Any specific or maybe grants? Maybe I'll speak about a couple of opportunities through government grants and certain schemes that are being there, but any suggestions on a startup that is at a validation phase? How do they really?
So normally we say when you are at the validation stage, your investment either has to be your own, family, friends, okay, or the government grants. Okay, the moment you go to a professional investor, okay, professional investor, when he comes, either your idea has to be very, very differentiated. कंज्यूमर वैलिडेशन आपका हुआ ना हुआ, लेकिन अगर आपने वो प्रोडक्ट क्रिएट किया हो इन टर्म्स ऑफ योर टेक्नोलॉजी और समथिंग, या कोई प्लेटफॉर्म टेक्नोलॉजी आपने क्रिएट की है, तो प्रोफेशनल इन्वेस्टर वो स्टेज पे देखेगा. वरना यू हैव टू लुक अराउंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ फैमिली फ्रेंड्स हु आर विलिंग टू टेक दैट फंड एटलीस्ट टू द लेवल दैट आप इनिशियल माइलस्टोन ऑफ वैलिडेशन कर सको, or get associated with good incubators who can get you the access to the right, because there are a lot of schemes under Startup India. Okay, a lot of government schemes which are available today. आज की तारीख में सीड फंडिंग का चालू हुआ है. Okay, गवर्नमेंट ने चालू किया है जो स्टार्टअप AIC के थ्रू जो हो रहा है. Okay, so that is there now. You can look at those opportunities before you go to a professional investor.
वहाँ पे I'll just kind of add here. I think the bare minimum that even if you are at idea or validation stage, the seed fund for certain schemes like Startup India, what they really require is DPIIT. It has to be a registered startup. I think these are the kind of checklist you really need to understand and ensure that you register yourself, and then it has to be a registered startup, and then with DPIIT number, and then again validation. When we say there has to be some real on-ground numbers as well, not assumptions. I believe that any incubator or anyone would really look at is some surveys that you might have done, or some kind of validation even from customers, if that's going to help you, and some paid pilot opportunities. I always say that it's not the free stuff that you give out, and also very important for what you require seed fund, because it's very important in the seed fund that the capital expenditure is not sort of considered in the seed fund part. It's mainly on your marketing, tech development, R&D around. So those are the cost components that you really need to look at for seed fund part of it, or any for matter any particular investors would really look at those elements. So I think wonderful. Thank you so much, Pradeepji. Thank you, Ramalinga Swami. Thanks, Ankit, for your questions. Thank you so much, Bhushanji. Thank you so much, Samkit ji, really appreciate your time. Looking forward to, as you are involved with AIC RMP as mentors, and then we are working closely with a couple of startups on an ongoing basis. Looking forward to your continuous support. Thanks for your valuable time.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for
Thank
having
you.
us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining in. Really appreciate your